What's up, everybody? In today's video we are going to be discussing simple scan techniques using the method scanner over here. You can use these techniques for pretty much any scanner, so follow along and hopefully you can learn something that you haven't before. I'll also be showing simple CAD designs too, just using basic hotkeys and whatnot. So go ahead and get started here. We are using EXOCAD. This is the Matera version 2.3, so hopefully you guys have upgraded your software as well, and you can use some of these tools that I'll be using also. First step is obviously enter in the patient's name. I will not be doing that for obvious reasons, but I will be showing you everything else that we do here. Also, this will be unedited, so you'll definitely see some mistakes, but you'll see some other things that maybe I do that I forget to even discuss. First thing you can do is hold down the shift key, and that will allow you to clear out all the teeth there. On your shift key, we've got tooth number 20 here, tongue and crown. We're doing zirconia. If you guys want to take a look at these, are my parameters. To each their own. Everyone likes something a little bit different, but those are mine. Again, hold down the shift key. That will use all the teeth there for your antagonist instead of just going one by one and clicking. It can get quite annoying and frustrating. You can also use the control key, and then you can just choose which one you want to do, like that, or clear, and it uses whatever option that you chose last as how it goes. I do everything tombstone models and occlusion, and save, and you can put in your tooth shade. If not, I always forget. It is what it is. Scanning. I always scan the solid model. That's what we do here. We pour plug dye. Just makes everything way more accurate. There's less movement in the models. Just makes everything a much simpler process. I like to use a towel to clamp these down because it'll turn your fingers raw after a little while. Them in there. Continue. Everything below this blue bar will be automatically deleted, so you don't have to sit there and edit everything yourself. Let me go ahead and get this automatic scan going. While this is scanning, you can go ahead and set up your next case. This will save you some time if you're scanning 20-30 cases instead of waiting till the first scan is done and then going ahead and inputting all the other information. You can go ahead and do this now. And this will be tooth number 19, zirconia crown. Sometimes you gotta double click adjacent, click, hold down shift key to bring it down, go down to 19, zirconia, boom. Antagonist, boom. And while that was going on, you upper finish scanning, you can switch down to your solid model. We'll go ahead and put that on. Come down to just below the margin, so all this stuff is automatically deleted. It'll wait for this to scan. If you're really fast at scanning, and after you've imported all your information, or inputted your information into the next case, you can actually start going ahead and designing your cases while your other case is scanning also. I don't like to put myself, I tend to rush my designs when I do that, so I don't typically like to do that, so I'll just wait and go look at emails and stuff like that while this is scanning and go from there. One of the big issues, or one of the most missed points of data that's scanned is the interproximal area, so make sure you go in there and fill these spaces in as best as you can. Usually just one extra scan will be fine. You got these little missing points right here. That's fine. The scan data will, the scan software will automatically fill that stuff in. That's not really that big a deal. But one of these spaces you'd want to fill in. So that's solid right there. All that stuff doesn't matter because that's all undercut. Next is we got our die. So we'll use my multi-die holder. Just go ahead and stick it in the middle. Scan. Move that up. Everything below doesn't matter. Go ahead and scan. And while that's going, we'll go ahead and get the bite ready. Got it in. I use rubber band to hold these down together. This is rather large rubber band, so I gotta wrap it around a couple times. Go ahead and get it clamped down. There. Good to go. And there's the old afternoon phone call. Not answering that. So we'll just go around, check around the margins, make sure everything's filled in. It's got one more scan. Yeah, there we go. Everything's filled in. We're good to go. And now we'll go ahead and scan the bite. If for some reason you accidentally scan the two models upside down, there is an option to flip them 180 degrees so that you don't have to go ahead and delete the scan and scan them again. It's a nice little addition to the new software update. So yeah. You also don't have to sit here and you can stop the scan at any time. I can stop it right here. I got plenty of data here. Again, this is just a bite scan, so we don't need everything all in full. Next, okay, let's make sure this prep is lined up properly. I'm using the right mouse button, hold it down, get these somewhat lined up. Goes like that. One click here, one click there. Come down here and make sure it's all speckled. Go to the next, and here. Nice little speckle. And then most of the times when you're doing the opposing cast, you can just hit the snap because it's already pretty close, not close enough. Just hit snap. It'll snap it right into place, and you're good to go. Next is editing everything else out. So we're going to highlight everything that we want to keep, and then just hit crop. Saves a lot of time in editing and cropping your scan. Alright, so that's that one. Exit. And we'll move on and we'll start on to the next case. Exit. Alright. I didn't save it last time. Go ahead and open this up. And I'll show you while we're scanning how we go about going ahead and design. So while that's going, we'll go ahead and load in all my models. Get my die ready for the multi-die, so I don't have to sit there and wait. Look for it. It's already in there. Again, right there we go. And we can go ahead and just load back that last case. And we good to go. So this is number 20, a little lower bicuspid. While that's loading, I'll go ahead and do this. Alright, here we go. Highly recommend you guys using a 3D mouse. You can see it, maybe not. It'll save your life. It'll speed up your design process 100 times. Click on the margin. Let's go ahead and double check here. Correct draw to make any little small changes. We want to drop this down a little bit more here. Spin around circle. Okay. Insertion icon. This is a nice new feature. You've always been able to do this, but they used to take away all the model when you were doing insertion access. All you had was this, so oftentimes there'd be crazy insertions and you wouldn't know where the contacts were, so you couldn't have nice flat broad contacts in the software. You'd have to make other small minor adjustments, so it's nice that they added this section in here. Again, these are my settings that I use right here. Go ahead and turn this around. Hotkeys, these are huge. EXOCAD isn't the greatest at initial placements or making things the proper size, so you want to go ahead and use these hotkeys, especially here, to save yourself in the actual freeforming mode. So we want to go ahead and use, if you hold down the control and shift, it'll just do one side like this. If you just hold down shift, it'll size everything all together same time. So I often do this, hold down shift and just do one section at a time. And I always kind of want to really get everything stuffed up in there when I'm designing my cases, and we're going to try and get as close as possible. And you can check, I also like trying to make these margins. See this margin right here, this tooth fiber is actually going to overlap everything, so it's going to cause me to do extra freeforming. So what you can do is use the shift and control key, kind of shrink them here, and then there we go, and it'll save you time in the freeforming section. Okay, we'll go ahead and now we'll adapt everything. See, this is the overlap I'm talking about right there. So let's go ahead and smooth this out. In the smooth tool, I don't know if people noticed this, but there's a shift for like super smoothing out like this, or there's just regular smooth. That's regular smooth, super smooth. I often use that instead of using the add remove tool. Saves a lot of time. Alright, let's fill in this contact right here. Go ahead and over contour it, or under contour. Smooth it all up. Okay, now we can bring these cuts tips down. This one down. That one down. Alright, let's go and check out this occlusion. Alright, so I'll just go ahead and cut it from here at point 1. Give me a nice deficit. And we got a thin spot there. Okay, so now I go ahead and go into expert mode. I'll go into tools, go to articulator, and we'll get this set up. And that other scan is finished quite a while ago, which is oftentimes why I don't do this all at the same time, because I will forget, and that's why I don't do it. I always do the dame. Again, if you guys have any questions, please put them down in the comment section. I know sometimes I'll go too fast, and obviously I'm new at the whole YouTube thing, so I'm trying to kind of learn on the job here. So any comments, tips, do's, don'ts that you guys could fill me in with, that would be much appreciated, so I can give you guys kind of what you guys want to see. Okay, let's go ahead and cut that. And before I go ahead and do anything else, I'll smooth out all these sharp edges. We don't want those. Okay. Let's also check thickness. Pretty thick here, so let's bring this down in. There we go. Down the corridor. Smooth this. And by no means, guys, am I any kind of an expert. This is just kind of how I do it. Just kind of showing you guys different ways of doing things. Let's go ahead and cut it again. And since it's thin here, change this to static. Drop it down out of occlusion. We'll do contacts, and this is one of the cool things I like about the Matera is the new disc cutter tool. I'll show you that in a second, but the reason why I'm doing exclude sector parts is when you scan a solid model, you'll get all this stuff under here. It's actually touching tissue, not so much over here. And so if you cut adjacent contact area, it's going to cut all this stuff too. Well, I don't want all that stuff cut, and I'll have to go back in and fill it in and smooth it all out. So let's go ahead and exclude everything. Then just paint, holding down the shift key. Just paint your actual contact area. Paint your other contact area. And now cut it. And then this spot right here won't get cut out. Very last thing we want to do is use the disc cutter tool. And this is actually an attachment that you can do too, but they've added this, which is a very nice new feature. And to cut any undercuts in your contact. So we'll come over here, turn these adjacent on, get this lined up here, go back, shoot, redo. There we go. Get his undercut contacts. Alright, just make sure we're lined up with the contact pretty good. Alright, we'll go ahead and cut. Gives me nice smooth surface here, and I'll show you this in another video, but I love using the cutter tool when I'm doing two teeth next to each other. It will give you a really nice broad contact, and I'll show you another way of doing that. Alright, so we'll have to finish this down in the green state, but that tooth is done. Out of habit, I always optimize. Done. I'll go ahead and finish this next scan. We'll get there. Okay. And we'll wait on that. Other videos I plan on doing, I wrote down on this nifty piece of paper that I'll try to do. Let's see, I'll show you guys how to do we'll do some bridge next. I got some screw tank cases, custom abutments, how to scan 2 implant cases with 1 scan body. I'll show you guys how to import other intraoral scans, 3M, iTero, CEREC. I'll show you how you guys can actually bring the CEREC scans into EXOCAD. I know that's a lot of people are wondering how you do that. I'll show you guys how to do that. We'll show you guys how to do scan in temporary abutments, how to do diagnostic wax ups, smile designs, and those kinds of things. And if there's any other videos that you want to see, let me know in the comment sections below, and we'll see what we can do. Again, check contact area. It's always nice just to go ahead and just give it a second scan anyways, because it's always missing data. And it's mostly because I set my scans to do the minimum amount of scans, just because you don't need that many scans. I'd rather have the smallest scan path and add my own scans. It'd save time that way than having it do a long scan that takes 2 or 3 minutes. I also recommend learning to use the shortcuts down here on the keyboard. 1 for auto scan, 2 for extra scan area, and those kinds of things. It'll save you time in the long run. We'll get our bite 2 models back together. Make sure everything goes together nicely. Here, I'll scan it upside down so I show you what I'm talking about, so you don't have to rescan it again. more scan there. Make sure everything's all filled in. Everything's good. Alright, put this in upside down. There we go. Wait on that. Good, put everything back in the case pan. Clean up so you don't leave things behind. Sometimes the scanner does this, kind of malfunctions. Not really a bad thing. If it was on a normal model scan, I would rescan everything and start over, but since it's just the occlusion, it's really not going to be that big of a deal, so I'm not too concerned about it. Usually that happens if there's a little small movement in the cast on the plate and kind of wiggles a little bit, so that's what that is. Alright, get everything all aligned. Next. Alright. Die. Again, it's just a single point. Try to get everything lined up the way it's facing here and the way it's facing there. That kind of helps get everything lined up. Just simple point and click. Here's the flip 180 position right here. So instead of rescanning, just flip it. It'll flip it over, and then you can go ahead and line it up that way. See, no problem. A little speckled there. Hold down the shift key with the right mouse pad to get to move back and forth. If you just hold down the right mouse button, it's just going to rotate. Hold down shift key and you can slide it back and forth. Okay, slide it back and forth. Alright, we're all speckled there. And we'll edit. The mouse wheel zooms in and out. Highlight what you want to keep. Crop. Double check to make sure. And delete anything you didn't want to. And you're good to go. And we'll merge and then save. Now you can turn off the scanner. You don't need it anymore. We'll go ahead and reload that case. And design. Alright, now we're doing a first lower molar. Go ahead and get the margins done. Just one click. And if it does this, go ahead and give it a second click down here. And it'll go where it's supposed to go. Just do as many clicks as you need. Then you can go ahead and adjust, get rid of these sharp angles here. Okay. Next. Insertion axis. Again, try to get parallel with the contacts as best you can. Even if you're kind of like this, it's fine because your software is going to automatically block that out. But this is parallel here. Again, these are just the default settings that I use. You can use however you guys like your crowns to fit best. When it comes to the tooth library, I kind of stick with one that I know each point on the tooth that pushes and pulls and adds and subtracts a certain way. Kind of just makes things easier. If something comes out like this, just hit the swap button, swap things around. Alright, so let's go ahead and we're using the shift key here. We're going to go ahead and expand. We'll stuff everything up in there. Kind of shorten this up. Again, I'm trying to make my margin of my tooth library same as the actual prep tooth. Saves a lot of time in the freeforming stage. That's the biggest tip I can give you. Another thing, if you like a certain library, but you can't quite get it to fit on the margin the way you want, go into the expert mode, go to freeform before it's been adapted to the die. You can go here, and then you can move it this way and get it on the margin if you want to do it that way. It's up to you. Okay, we'll go ahead and adapt. one spot over there, so that's why it's all fat. Alright, and I'll fix this up over here. Everyone designs their own way. I don't really have any particular way I do it. Okay. Always check to make sure you're not over. This is too tall right here. I'm holding down the shift key here and using the smooth tool. It smooths and subtracts and just does everything way better that way than the actual subtract tool. I almost never use it. Okay, let's make sure these contacts are, again, overdo the contacts. Alright. Okay, now we're going to, well, okay. So this needs to come down. This is the shift key again. You can see how fast it goes. Alright, let's cut it. Articulator. Get this lined up properly, somewhat close. To get these buttons to pop up, just hold down the control key. Yep, control. And if you need to reset it, like you go like this, it'll reset it. Otherwise, it'll just stay there. So I'm gonna just reset it just to let go of the control key. Alright, got that going. Okay. Go ahead and cut everything. I do retrusion to the right. Start. Okay, save this path. Double click this. It's not going to load in. I don't know why. It's just some kind of glitch. Just double click it and it will show up if there are any marks to be had, which there are not, but I will go ahead and cut it anyways, just out of habit. Adapt. Oh, sorry. Smooth up all the sharp edges. I also use the cylinder because I only want to smooth what's inside the cylinder. If you use the paintbrush, everything around the paintbrush will also get smooth too. So I want more control, so I use the cylinder. And now we can go ahead and adapt. Contacts, exclude, select parts, select all. Let's go ahead and paint my contact area. Cut, undo, go to the disc cutter, click on that, there we go. That was kind of overhanging the adjacent tooth right there, so we want to go ahead and cut that. Alright, cut. Alright. Take one last look around. We can smooth this up with the cylinder. You want to do that? Go ahead and take a look around. Everything looks pretty good. Check the occlusion. Nice stuff to smooth that up right there. Here. Alright. And then you're done. So that's what I have for today. Please, if you guys enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. It will help get the video so more people can see it, see what we're doing, see what we're trying to do. Please, questions, comments, concerns, do's, don'ts, what am I doing wrong, what am I doing right, put them down in the comment section below, and hopefully we can keep this thing going and get some more videos out there. Thanks for watching.